Rather than large, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to another live stream. Arsenal take on Newcastle today in our most important game of the season, but also in a game where I think uh, we don't look, listen. I'm gonna say this right in a game where I think we are not favorites. I was about to say we do not stand a chance because I think, look, I think Newcastle would be in a better position than we are, but I'm not going to say that. I think it's a game where it is not a free hit. We are not the favorites. Depending on the lineups that we will look at, and also depending on um, um, the injury update that we are going to look at. So Arsenal are not in any way favorites for this game, but of course we need to win it. I've seen a couple of people say no excuses and everything like that, and I want to say no excuses as well. I don't want to say we must win this game. It's a must win, but honestly, yeah, we have to win it. But for me, I do not see how Arsenal how Arsenal lack excuses if we do not win, because I think it's one that has been dominated by excuses, by excuses, many excuses, rather than that feeling of Arsenal will win this game. But anyway, we take on Newcastle. We're going to be looking at the team news, Mikel Arteta's press conference, and a couple of other things. Do me a huge favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. It massively helps out. I'm a little bit nervous, and I know everybody is, right? I'm a little bit nervous. I know everybody is. So Mikel spoke to the media about uh, you know the injury update, who's gonna be fit, and especially that defensive, the availability of our defensive duo, Gabriel and Ben White. I think that is what is important in this game. I don't think there is anything else. If we come into this game without Gabriel and Ben White, or without either of them, it's a massive disaster. You cannot. I just can't picture Arsenal with Cedric, Nuno Tavares, Xhaka, and who else? And who else would be standing in that defense? I just can't picture that. I just can't picture that. Actually, picturing Xhaka, White, Nuno Tavares, and Cedric is absolute pain as well. It goes back to the element of squad depth, something I really talked about in January, and I said, look, squad depth is going to come back and hurt us, and there we are. It's hurting us. So, what is the latest in terms of team news? What do we know about these players? Mikel spoke to the media. We didn't do a press conference reaction. It doesn't count at this matter at this time, because we are 1 hour away from the lineups, so it doesn't matter. The press conference really doesn't matter, but the huge boost would be both players, White and Gabriel Magalhaes, traveled with the team. Both of them traveled with the team. I think that would be the biggest story, right? Both of them traveled with the team. However, according to the latest I've seen, none of them has actually been involved in the last in the last training session. So it literally means that we could have them back. Probably they had gone for assessment, or they were rested, or anything like that, or we could have none of them, and that is for me the game changer. Before we get into Newcastle, before we get into the two sides and the quality, that is the game changer. The moment Arsenal come into this game without their best centre backs, without any of them, I do not think we stand a chance. I honestly do not think we stand a chance. So, because look, that back four then will be, like I said, Xhaka, Cedric, Nuno Tavares, and Tomiyasu, right? And Tomiyasu. So you think Tavares will be playing on the left, Cedric on the right, and then you have Tomiyasu playing at centre back with Granit Xhaka. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. It's one of those. It's one of those lineups that I desperately do not want to look at. I don't want to look at Cedric and Nuno Tavares in the same team first and foremost. But Xhaka dropping into a centre back position, we know. I mean, he can be good when he's good, but we know if you expose him to that amount of pressure, because we look at Newcastle, they did welcome back Kieran Trippier from injury last weekend when they were playing Manchester City. So Trippier is back, and of course we know the amount of quality Trippier brings to Newcastle, right? So Trippier then would be going against Nuno Tavares. That is not even a contest. It's not even a contest. I'm telling you, that is that would be a weekend. That would be a holiday for Kieran Trippier. That would be a holiday. He's gonna destroy Nuno Tavares, and I'm scared because I know Nuno Tavares, regardless of the outcome, whether Gabriel or White, if one of them makes it, I think Nuno Tavares will still make it to this team. And we know the amount of mistakes he makes as a player. So I'm not yet confident that Nuno Tavares playing at left back is gonna be a good idea. So Trippier against Nuno Tavares, that is one of the battles that we are going to lose in this game. And I think, and I pray that Mikel Arteta has thought about that. The other battle we will have is targets, Matt Target against Cedric. Cedric does struggle a lot when it comes to defending quality players. We saw it with Jadon Sancho this in the second round of the Manchester United Arsenal game. Should have been a penalty, probably, if United were not unlucky. We saw him against Jack Grealish in the opening. So it was not the opening, but I think it was the second or third game of the season. Actually, third game of the season against Manchester. Grealish absolutely destroyed Cedric. So, I mean, we looked at Cedric. We looked at Rob Holding so much in that Tottenham game, but the truth was that Cedric Soares didn't provide any kind of cover to Rob Holding, and literally that means Rob Holding was handling Heung-min Son alone, literally. So Cedric was doing nothing, and that's why you see Rob Holding was getting into a lot of trouble. So again, you cannot have now Cedric and Nuno Tavares, and then you add Xhaka in that back line. Jesus Christ. It's the worst you're gonna have, right? And look, this is a game where I know many people have said, Cossy, Newcastle are going to be playing for nothing. They have already secured top four and Premier League football for next season and everything like that. But Newcastle, we know the quality they have. We know the amount of confidence, the amount of belief. And I think their spirits are a little bit higher than ours. And I'm not going to be very surprised, and I won't be surprised if I see a result, Newcastle 3, Arsenal 2, or Newcastle 3, Arsenal 1. I won't be surprised. I'll take you back to the Crystal Palace game we played off a back of very, very good wins, because we had played around 7 games without a loss, and then we came in and we played Crystal Palace, and everybody thought, yeah, Crystal Palace are a difficult team and everything like that, but Arsenal will beat them, and we were absolutely blown away by Crystal Palace. And one of the things I think Palace did, they had a lot of confidence, and I thought they didn't have any pressure on them because they had already qualified. That is what Newcastle bring to the table. That is what Newcastle are going to be having in this game. They're coming into a game where they know they lose, nothing happens to them. They win, nothing happens to them. So they're going to be very, very calm. Arsenal on one side, on the other probably, because Newcastle are on the other side. Arsenal on the other side, it's a game where we know I think that is our Hail Mary, right? And it's a game that has lots of pressure. I mean, as fans, if you felt pressure against Tottenham Hotspur, all the pressure in that game has shifted into this game, right? And why, for me, why it's because if it was a Norwich or Watford, yeah, the pressure would be there, but the pressure probably could have been compensated and covered by the fact that Arsenal are good enough as a team. And we do not have so many injuries, and we are going to play a Norwich City that is small. But Newcastle and the amount of quality they have gathered. I mean, they had the quality initially, but I think 2 or 3 players, Bruno Guimaraes, in that midfield. Then you have Jonjo Shelvey. I don't know if he'll play. Actually, their midfield already beats ours. Not in terms of quality, but because for us, if Xhaka goes away, so we shall be without Xhaka and Partey. So we'll have Mohamed El Neni, Martin Odegaard, and who else will be playing there? Probably Emil Smith Rowe, yeah, or Albert Sambi Lokonga. It will depend on the manager. Lokonga and El Neni do not beat Bruno Guimaraes and Jonjo Shelvey. They don't. They literally don't. So that means, and that's going to mean that Arsenal will have a disadvantage in defense, a disadvantage in midfield, right? Up front, yes, I think we are good, but they're also good. They have Alan Saint-Maximin up front. They have Joe Linton, who's been doing very, very well, very good work, right from the midfield, to up front. They have Callum Wilson is back. I mean, it will depend on Ed Howe if he decides to play him, because we know what Callum Wilson gives them. And then they also have not really. They have Wood, right? They have Wood, aerial ability, and everything like that. And that's why it's gonna be funny, because if you play Cedric, Nuno, and Xhaka is good in the air. So is Tomiyasu, but you cannot rely on that pair. You cannot rely on those 4 to keep Chris Wood out, especially in the air. You really cannot. Personally, I can't. I can't rely on them to keep Chris Wood out. To keep Chris Wood out. I can't. However much I would love to, however much I feel probably they deserve some benefit of the doubt. I can't rely on them. I just can't trust them. So this is how we should line up, in my opinion. I don't know what you think, but this is how we should line up. Ramsdale stays in goal, and we should play a back 3. Again, I'm going to go defensive. The reason that's why I'm going to go defensive in this game, and I'm going to suggest a defensive lineup, and of course, in around 40 minutes, we're going to see what Mikel Arteta has gone for. But why I would go for a defensive lineup, lads? I told you against the Tottenham game. These are Champions League finals. These are Champions League games. I mean, we need to just stop thinking about them as Premier League games. They're Champions League games. In the Champions League, if we do qualify, we will have so many moments, right? We'll have so many moments, so many games that look like that Tottenham game. We'll have so many games that look like this Newcastle game. Games that mean a lot, games that mean everything. For example, you could have a game, the last game in your group stage, and you have to win it to qualify as second. If you do not win it, you drop to the Europa League. That's one. Or we are going to play knockout, right? Knockout is all about being the better side. Like if you lose 2-1 in the first leg, you need to win the second game 2-0. Right? It's a must win. So there are going to be so many moments in the UEFA Champions League, in the Europa League, if we go there. I could care less, that are so decisive. And why I was disappointed with Mikel Arteta, and if you still remember my reaction, was he didn't handle the Tottenham game the way I wanted. He didn't handle that game the way I expected him to. He actually handled it in a very casual manner, right? And that really exposes him, because when you go to the Champions League, those are the games you're going to be playing. Those are the games. You play Benfica, first leg, you concede 4-0. It happens a lot of the time. You play Ajax, you concede 3-0. But then you have a chance to turn it around in the second leg. Do you just play casually? You need to show some spirit. You need to show a lot of, resilience. And I don't think we showed any kind of spirit. I don't think we showed any kind of urgency. I don't think we showed any kind of resilience in that Tottenham game. And now it is back. It was a nice an assignment that was actually pushed to the next day, right? And the disadvantage we have now is we cannot push the assignment any further. Today is deadline day. It's deadline day. Spurs ahead of us with a point. The moment we fail to win this game, it's over. Spurs are going to beat Norwich like 5-0 in the last game, 5-0, 6-0. That's what's going to happen. You know that. And we have Everton, a very, very difficult game. So this is our chance. I don't know. This is our chance to keep the rest alive. Can you imagine? I can't imagine myself. I'm saying this, but it is what it is. This is our chance to keep the rest alive, because Spurs now are in a better position than we are. We are going to play a Newcastle that has nothing to lose. That is a team. That is one of the teams I do not want to play. A team that has nothing to lose. Drop your comments. Drop a like on the video as well. But drop your prediction as well. That is a team you don't want to play. A team that has nothing to lose. A team that is ready, right? A team that is just ready. I mean, whatever comes. That is how they will be looking at this game. Whatever comes, whatever the result, right? And look, Newcastle, apart from Joe Willock, they have nothing. They owe us nothing. And I'll say that again. They owe us nothing. So they come to the Emirates. They win 3-0. They owe us nothing, right? We got to Everton. We draw 1-1. Everton owe us nothing. This is not a Steven Gerrard Aston Villa that has to beat Newcastle so that Liverpool win the title. Because Liverpool owe Steven Gerrard something. Like they'll tell him, look, we made you the player you are. We made you the man you are in this sport. For Arsenal, we owe Newcastle and Everton owe us nothing. So back to the starting lineup. I'm playing a back five. Yeah, I'm playing a back five. Right, and that is very, very timid. But I think we should play a back five. We should play in a better structure, and we should also make sure that we do not expose ourselves. We don't expose ourselves to harm's way whatsoever. Whatever the reason, we don't do it. No, we do not do it. So I'm playing a back five. The three at the back. Tomiyasu, obviously. If Ben White, because Ben White had come back against Leeds, decided not to play him, had come back against Tottenham. I think it was fitness issues. So I think Ben will be back. So Ben White, Tomiyasu in a back three with Xhaka. I mean, there's nothing to do, right? And then the two wing backs, Cedric, we have an option. Cedric and Nuno Tavares play a back five, because those five, apart from Tomiyasu, if I take away Tomiyasu and if I take away Tomiyasu and Ben White, the other three do not make one correct defender. Cedric, Tavares, and Xhaka, they don't make one correct defender, one decent correct defender. So we've got to play a back five. We've got to play back five. I know we can dominate Newcastle, and I won't be surprised to see Mikel Arteta trying to play a Newcastle and take advantage of them and try to intimidate them. But that's going to be very, very scary, and we do not want. We don't want that. I'm going to tell you why, and I'll tell you how I think they will set up. Right. So, in my opinion, honestly, let's play a back five. Cedric, Nuno Tavares, wing backs. Xhaka drops in for Gabriel. If White if God helps us, White is available. And then you play Tomiyasu as well, because Tomiyasu is the only centre back now that we have fully fit, and he's also coming back from injury. He's the only fully fit centre back. Of course, he's a right back. Don't get me wrong, but that is the good thing with him being a very versatile player. He's the only fully fit centre back we have. So that is how I would go for in the midfield. After dropping Xhaka, after dropping Xhaka to the defensive three, then Lokonga comes back because again you have no option. Lokonga with Mohamed El Neni. Let's get a point in this game, right? Rather than getting none. So Lokonga and Mohamed El Neni in that midfield. So I'm playing. I'm literally playing a 3-4-3. So in that midfield four, you have Nuno, Cedric, then joined by Albert Sambi Lokonga and El Neni. Very defensive. Up front, obviously, Martin Odegaard, because he can't create the difference. Martinelli and Saka. Now, Eddie has been a very, very good player for us. Very, very good. And I don't care if Martinelli drops and Nketiah starts, right? But why I think we might need players like Martinelli and Saka and probably not Eddie is this is going to be a game, an end-to-end game. It has, it's going to, because Newcastle do not have the power, but of course they do. I don't think they're so far ahead in terms of quality that they will press us against the wall. I don't think we can easily find our way out, right? So it might be an end-to-end game where Newcastle have their own spells and Arsenal have their own spells. We will have our chances and they'll have their chances as well. But to create those chances, we will need those players, the kinds of Martinelli, the kinds of Saka. So for me, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli up front, drop Eddie. Just drop him. It's okay. Drop him. After all, he's not going to be part of this team in the near future. Just drop him. It's fine. So that is my starting 11. Purely defensive. Purely defensive. If you told me one player I'll drop, I'll drop to put to add Eddie there, I'll drop Martin Odegaard. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, but I'll drop Odegaard because I think, falling into. I loved how Frankfurt played against West Ham and Barcelona. Literally, what they did, they didn't have a number 10. They did. In some games, you don't need a number 10, like Spurs. They literally don't play a number 10. Their game rotates around Rodrigo Bentancur, who's a very, very deep lying creative midfielder. Gets that ball in deeper areas and then he turns, right? And that's why we are missing Thomas Partey so much, because our game rotates around Thomas Partey and not Martin Odegaard. And Odegaard is one of those players that benefits a lot when Partey is on the pitch, because he just brings the ball closer and then Odegaard as the architect can play. But look, Smith Rowe can start. I don't care, but I want us to go defensive. I want us to sit in the structure. I want us to do the basics right. I want us not to concede in the first half. All right. So because with Newcastle, this is the threat. They have a team that has been organized by an intelligent manager. And many people said, "Oh, he won't make it. He's not good enough." But we had seen him at Bournemouth before they were relegated. He had done it. He had really organized Bournemouth into a very, very good side. And what he's done with this Newcastle side is he has organized them into a team that is very, very comfortable, by the way, with the ball. But then remember, they are so deadly without the ball. So let's look at this. In possession, they have Bruno Guimaraes, who is a world-class midfielder. I've already said that Arsenal made a huge mistake by not getting him. Edu should have used these Brazilian connections probably to convince Mikel Arteta that he's the man we need, and also to convince him to join the club. So Bruno Guimaraes and Jonjo Shelvey. At times, Miguel Almiron sits in there with him. In that City game, I think it was Miguel Almiron and Bruno Guimaraes, right? And those two are comfortable in terms of game management. They're comfortable on the ball. They'll pass it around, and both of them have the ideas to to create and execute that final ball. So up front, you have Joe Linton, you have Chris Wood, and you also have Alan Saint-Maximin. Why I'm afraid of Newcastle is if we leave the ball to them, they have a player with unique qualities in Alan Saint-Maximin that is going to run at Cedric, and Cedric will be blown away. That is going to run at Xhaka, and Xhaka will trip him in the penalty area, and we are gonna concede a penalty. Trust me, it's a game where I'll be very surprised if Arsenal, if there are no penalty shoutouts from Newcastle, because Alan said Maxima, that is it, that is him. He always, he always is good at just intimidating defenders. That is one part of the part of their game. They can get you on the break, right? Kieran Trippier is the other player. Actually, I think both of their wing backs, Trippier and Target, are heavily a threat, right? Especially on the break. If you release Maxima, if you release Target, if you release Trippier, they are a very, very wonderful threat. But then remember that because Mikel doesn't want to play deep, he doesn't want to defend deep, right? The only two teams that I would suggest we don't defend deep against them is City and Liverpool. Because with City and Liverpool, it's better for you to play a high line than you play defending deep, because they have so many players with a lot of quality to force those errors in errors in the penalty area, and you don't want that. You really don't want to defend City close to your goal, right? They can force as many errors from you as possible. But with Newcastle, a team that is being led by a target man in Chris Wood, look, lads, it's okay. We can't play closer to goal. We can defend. We can defend deep. What we don't want. We don't want space for Alan Saint Maximin to run into. We don't want space for Kieran Trippier to run into. We don't want space for Joelinton to run into, because Joelinton is another Diogo Jota. Those Rom Doites that just look for those pockets of space. That is our first assignment, honestly, right? I said this against Spurs, and everybody, came out on my head. Cossy, you're so defensive. Cossy, we should be a little bit attacking and everything. And you saw what happened, right? So the difference with this game, though, is Newcastle will have no motive. I think that kind of motivation will be a little bit, low. I was watching AC Milan Atalanta yesterday, and it's a very, very similar to it's a very, very similar game to our game, right? And then after I watched Inter Milan, I think they were playing Cagliari, right? Milan were playing Atalanta. Atalanta is a very, very quality side, and I was scared for AC because I thought they were gonna drop points, because I couldn't see a way of them beating Atalanta. But what they did, AC Milan, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The first 45 minutes of the game were preservation, right? They didn't preserve the game later. They preserved the game earlier, because they know the longer you take without conceding, it gives you a chance to win that game by 1-0 or 2-0. And that's what Milan did. If you go back and look at how Milan have been winning their games, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1. They have won 1-0 like 10 times this campaign, 1-0, right? And it's not because they're defending so well. It is because they know how to, preserve the game. They know how to manage the game. They manage the game right from minute 1 to minute 90. They don't start managing the game after conceding or after scoring, right? So that's what they did against Atlanta, and they won that game 2-0. Chances fell their way, and they took their chances. Of course, you've got to give them credit for that. So, but one thing I saw again, in that Atalanta side, there wasn't a lot of motive, because Atalanta have already achieved whatever they want to achieve this season. So there was no this kind of pressure fight from Atalanta. I mean, if Atalanta was second and Milan were first, we would have seen a better game. But because Atalanta had nothing to play for, they're like, okay, if Milan make their mistake, we'll destroy them. But if not that, Milan can win their game, right? And then we went into the Cagliari game against Inter Milan. It was almost the same story. 54 minutes, it is 2-0 to Inter Milan. And if you look at how Inter Milan were playing in that game, they did concede a goal. I think in the 57th minute or 58th, they conceded a goal. But if you look at how they handled that game, it is preservation first, game management first, and then look for that vital goal, right? And as the game was entering into the 85th minute, Lautaro Martinez again scoring his second of the game, just took the game far away from Cagliari 3-1. I think that is what Arsenal need to do. And I know many Arsenal fans and Mikel Arteta are very proud. How can we sit back? How can we defend football like that? We are Arsenal. We have to play. We have our own identity and everything. Yeah, I understand. But how about preserve the game and get the points? How about we sit back, we sit in our structure, we preserve our game, we keep our structure strong, right? Because this is a game where Arsenal has a lot of things to do. One, we have to cope with the injury stress, which means many players are going to be playing in different positions that they have not been playing in. You have Tomiyasu going to center back. You have Nuno Tavares coming in, who is a liability. Don't get me wrong, who is a liability. You have Xhaka dropping into center back position, right? Those players will need some 30 minutes to cope and get used to the dynamics of those new positions. That is one. Two, it means that because you have changed shape, then your players have to work harder by adapting, right? You have to work harder to adapt to the new formation and to the new positions. But then you also have to make sure that you work hard so that the output does not change despite the fact that you've changed positions and the structure. So we are going to work very, very hard. And so, I mean, that is there. And it's a game where we do not have any motivation from our previous games. I mean, from our previous game. We lost terribly 3-0. So it's a game where we are bouncing back. That is one. You're bouncing back. You're changing a structure. You're changing positions, player positions. You're missing key players. And you cannot lose the game. You cannot even manage to share points, right? So it's a game that has a lot around it. The psychology is going to be heavy and thick. I think, look, physically, these players are tired. Yeah, they are tired. I mean, I look at them. I've looked at Saka. It's a game where we'll need Saka. I'm going to talk about, players we need and everything. But it's a game where we're going to need Saka and Martinelli not to be on their best, but to do their best. Get into that penalty area and look for the near post or the bottom corner. Be accurate. You get a goal for Arsenal before Newcastle score, we have something to defend. And that's what, for me, we should be looking for. Right. So, like I said, Newcastle have nothing to play for, but very, very quality side. Very, very quality side. I'm one of those people, and I'm very, very lucky that by next season, I'll be hosting a very, very big show on 9-9 Sport. But one of the things I'm going to look at before we get into next season is how Newcastle will line up, because I want to see how many players of this Newcastle side will still be in the team. It's one thing I would really want to say. Yeah, goalkeeper, the likes of Dubravka, I don't think they will stay. Right, so quality side, they've done well. And they're gonna put it, pose a threat. So let's get to Arsenal now. Look, I've talked about how I want us to play. I've talked about how I want Arsenal to play, and I don't know if I'm not sure if it's I'm not sure if it's a formation that will give us all we want, but I'm more than sure that we play like that, we stand a chance. Gonna be talking to Glenn also. Is in the backyard. Is it a backyard? All right.
Background, how are you, man?
Background. How are you doing, bro?
I'm good. Just been listening to what you have to say. I'm getting even more nervous.
I'm nervous. I'm absolutely nervous. I'm very, very nervous.
I'm very scared. I mean, this is Newcastle, and no disrespect to them, but Newcastle away, this time it feels like it's Man City away. Like it feels like it's the hardest game of the season, but if you look at it, you're supposed to be beating Newcastle. Cossy, in the last 20 years, Newcastle have beaten us 3 times. 20 years.
Yeah.
They've not even scored a goal against us for almost 5 years. I mean, we should be beating them. I know the pressure on Arsenal. I know how we usually falter on that.
But you know, Newcastle is one game that I still remember Loro Koscielny scoring. I think it was, I don't remember the season really, but
Yeah.
Loro Koscielny scoring in the last game to take us to the top 4. You still remember that game?
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
Newcastle and West Brom as well. Both teams, 2 different seasons.
yeah, exactly. But uh, the Newcastle today is a very, actually this is a Newcastle that is so different from the one we played in the first leg. This is a Newcastle that I think is more motivated, better, motivated. A Newcastle that I think will believe in themselves, will feel this is our chance to, get back to Arsenal, right? I mean, we cannot lose to them back to back. They're in a better position. As we lose, players to injuries, they are welcoming back their players to injuries from injuries. Trippier is coming back. I think it's Callum Wilson is also coming back. So honestly, it's a game where I feel we can't lose. But then I don't know if I'm just nervous, but I feel the odds are not on our side. I mean, how confident are you?
Definitely not as confident as I should be. As I said,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be confident of beating Newcastle, but there's a lot of things that are, as you said, piling up against us in terms of odds. One is the last home game of the season. They're very motivated to go into the next season. Every
Yeah.
player wants to show themselves to prove to the manager something so they're not sold in the summer. Number two, it's a Monday night game. I know people usually say it doesn't matter if you're home or away, it doesn't matter if it's Tuesday or Monday. It actually does. We rarely win on Mondays. Every time we play on Monday nights, I feel more scared. I feel like this. It's like we never turn up for those games, Monday night games, Wednesday night games, like Crystal Palace, Tottenham. All those late night games we've been getting smashed. Number three, our defense. Our defense is terrible right now. Gabriel is injured. Holding is suspended. White should be back. I was actually happy he didn't come on in the last game. I didn't see the need of bringing him in that game. The moment they scored the second goal, I knew we were not going to win that game. Just play. I know it's Tottenham, but I didn't really. After they scored the second, I didn't really care if they were going to score 20 or 2. I was right away concentrating on Newcastle or Everton. So 3 or 4 different reasons. As you said, Trippier, Wilson are back. All will be motivated. They have Wood in terms of set pieces. We had gone the entire season without conceding a corner. We've now conceded in back-to-back games. Chris Wood is a dangerous guy from those kind of situations. So I know I'm not that 100% confident, but we should win. I would be very disappointed if we let it go right now, man. I'd be very disappointed. We've done so well this season that if we dropped it in the last 2 games, I'd be very hurt until August.
Yeah, and because for me, my focus on this game is how we approach it, and it's going to be the important thing. How we approach it.
Yeah.
I did a preview. This is my second preview done live this season, right?
Yeah.
So I did a preview, and I said, I think it was the Tottenham game, and I said what Arsenal need to do is it's not defending, but try to make sure that you preserve that that gap you have over Tottenham. You have nothing to worry about if we share points, right? And by doing so, I thought do not play a high line against Tottenham, because you don't want to give them space to run into. That is one. And make sure if you're going to do man to man marking like Rob Holding and on Son, the right players mark the right players, like Tomiyasu on Son and maybe Holding on Kulusevski, because I thought Kulusevski is a very quality player, but Son is so deadly. Is very deadly. A player who had scored 20 Premier League goals and non-penalty Premier League goals. You don't just let him let him go like that. And I thought we should sit in a structure, and I've said it today as well. I know you've had. like sit in a structure and make sure that first and foremost, do not preserve what you have. Fight with you are in a better position, right? So would you probably want to see us go out and play like we have nothing to lose, or would you prefer us, going through this first 60 minutes of the game, trying to fool Newcastle that a 0-0 is okay, draw is okay, we'll take this to the final, and probably try to up our game in the 70s. I've spoken about Milan and how they've been winning their games. I've been watching them. They literally play at a very, very, very low tempo, and that really slows down the opponent, right? It doesn't give the opponent a lot of time on the ball, a lot of time to make those deadly runs, because the game is not in a very, very high tempo, so you can easily track their movements and whatever they're doing. Or would you want us not to? Because the first option is, do you want us to play at a high tempo, attack them, and then expose ourselves by playing a high line? Or would you like us not to preserve, manage the game, and just use the chances that fall our way? And how would you line up? Would you go for some back five, or would you still go with a back four? Just replace players, players who like for like. So probably Xhaka drops into the defense, then you bring in Albert Lokonga, and everything stays the same.
I want us to score within the first 5 minutes.
You want to
just
start?
To take right
you
away.
want you
Right
want to
away.
score within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, make them attack and then make them expose themselves by trying to score. When they're trying to score, you get a chance to get a second goal. And I've felt more confident every time we've scored fast, obviously this season, early especially. I remember back even when Aubameyang was still in the team, like he scored against Crystal Palace very early in the game. The game we ended up drawing, of course, but we didn't lose. There's a couple of games where we've scored very, very early and I felt a bit comfortable. But every time we go into the second half, 0-0, 1-0, or we allow the opponents like Crystal Palace to score fast, we all of a sudden get in trouble. They can get a second or third. But West Ham game, we scored fast. We ended up winning the match. Chelsea, obviously, we scored and then they equalized, but it gives us the thought of, you can actually score again. So if you start quick, if you don't start quick and it goes 30 minutes, 40 minutes, the Arsenal players. I know most of the players are new, but you still have players who've been here when you've been bottling it. The likes of Jack, El Neni, all those players have been here. So they still have that mentality as well. So if you score fast early on, you give yourself more confidence to get a second and a third and just clinch the game. I want us to approach a game the way City or Liverpool would. They wouldn't take a 0-0. We have to win. We have to win. No draws.
Yeah, we can't win. My concern tactically is, you've talked about it. We have so many players now that mean, actually almost all the players that mean everything in terms of experience, in terms of attitude, character, leadership, are off. Partey is now injured. Gabriel Magalhaes and his organization of that defense is now injured. Tierney is injured. You understand? So why I'm afraid, why I'm afraid for us to to keep playing the way we've been playing is that we already have a deficit, and other teams are trying to capitalize on that deficit, on that weakness, right? For example, if I'm Eddie Howe playing devil's advocate here, I'm an Arsenal fan, big Arsenal fan, so don't get scared. If I'm Eddie Howe, I'll tell Alan Saint-Maxima, make sure you run every chance you get, run directly at Cedric. You know that?
Yeah.
And I'll tell Kieran Trippier, do not face Nuno Tavares head on, but make sure you utilize the space behind it, because he always leaves it there, right? Right? Yeah. So we are going to be weakened by those by the circumstances. Honestly, we've been weakened. I highly doubt we should be. I know being brave is good because it pays off, right? You can be brave, and within the first 40 minutes you're leading 2-0 and game over, right? But what if it doesn't work out? What if Newcastle go with that game plan of let's sit back and hit Arsenal with their back four. Because for me, our back four, if it has Xhaka, Tavares, and Cedric, that is not a back four. That is, I don't know, right? I don't know unless White makes it. So I'm scared. I want us to be very, very careful. Actually, if that's the word, I would prefer us to be very careful. Do not give them an opportunity. Do not give them a chance whatsoever. Just make sure that, when you get a chance, because I know we'll get chances, right? Even in the Tottenham game, I only remember one chance, by the way, in the Spurs game. I think it was it Martinelli running, and then the ball that fell to Saka. Do you remember any other chances in that game?
No, really. We were basically just defending in the
Exactly.
second half. Yeah.
Yeah, but I know we'll get chances, and if we can bury those chances and make it difficult for Newcastle, I think that's what we should do, and then just wait 6 days later, go into Sunday's game, and see if we can pull out a masterclass against Everton.
You said you can be brave and score 2 goals and game over, but you can also be defensive and still concede 3 goals very early on, like we did against Crystal Palace, and then you make it hard for yourself. So if you don't have a good defense today, let's play attack. Newcastle have conceded 61 goals this season.
Against Palace, why I think we conceded those goals, because for me, we didn't sit deep. We were not really sitting deep. It was not a defensive structure. It was Arsenal, playing the way we usually play, but not committing into attack and then not committing defensive. I've seen that happen all the time. With us, there are times when we are very good. We are committing into tackles. We are winning the first ball. We are winning the second ball. In the Crystal Palace game, we were not winning the first ball. We were not even winning the second ball, because if you look at all the games that all the goals we conceded, the first goal, the ball is brought in. I think it's a free kick. Then we don't win the first ball. I think it is Vawat, that defender scored a brace. Vestergaard. Is it Vestergaard?
Yeah, Vestergaard.
Is it? I think it's Is it Vestergaard?
Who scored against us?
Yeah, Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace, Anderson. That's Anderson, right?
Yeah, Joachim Anderson. Thank you so much. Joachim Anderson. He wins the first ball, and then we don't clear our lines, right? So we don't win the second ball. And if you look at the second, goal, again, Joachim Anderson, plays that ball in. Gabriel mistimes it. So it's the first ball. Gabriel mistimes it. He doesn't win the first ball, but there is no one to collect the remains. There's no one to win the second ball. Again, we concede. We concede by not getting the second ball. And I'm afraid that with Newcastle, if you play like that, because with this Arsenal side, defensive sitting in a very defensive structure is something that I've not seen us do, right? And I know many Arsenal fans are not even used to it. Like they don't feel Arsenal can sit in a defensive structure and be that strong. I also don't feel we can sit in a defensive structure and be that strong. But what can we do? What can we do? All we have to do right now, for me, is make sure. Actually, I think we should make sure that we don't even concede the goal in our next 2 games starting today. We shouldn't. But anyway, so you would play. You'd play an attack. You'd play attack and then manage the game later, right?
Yeah, get a 2-goal lead and defend it. So they've conceded 61 goals. They can concede goals. Only 3 teams have conceded more. So Newcastle are not good defensively, and we're also not good defensively right now. So score more goals than them.
Yeah, but there is a statistic I was looking at. This year, if you look at the teams that have actually collected many points, you have City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle, then Spurs. All right. So it writes something. It means something. Remember, many of those goals they conceded were were prior to Eddie Howe being appointed as manager.
Yeah.
Many of the goals they conceded were prior to them having, bringing in Targets, bringing in Trippier, bringing in, Dan Ban, Bruno Guimaraes to protect that defense, right? So we know they're a team that can, defend. I think Chelsea beat them 1-0. If I still remember, was it Kai Havertz?
Yeah, they're very lucky. Newcastle should have gotten something from that game.
Exactly. And what they did, because if you look at throughout that game, Chelsea were on the front foot, right?
Yeah.
They were the better side in terms of having the ball, distributing it, and causing threats. But just imagine, I don't think our attacking quality in the previous games has been that phenomenal. West Ham, not that phenomenal. Yes, we had two, we scored 2 goals, but not really. Leeds, despite the fact that we locked them in a cage, we were not that phenomenal in terms of making sure that we break them. We break them down. United, probably, because I think with United we should have scored more. We should have scored more. They should have scored more as well. Chelsea, we capitalized on our chances. So anyway, do you feel it's like a 50-50 game? Do you look at it and you feel, yeah, it's a 50-50 game?
Yeah, it is a 50-50 game that we should win anyway. I mean, as I said, we can't reach these points after beating West Ham, Chelsea, United, and still lose the game. The lineups are out, by the way. We'll put it here. So Ramsdale is starting in goal. Our back four, luckily, it's Tomiyasu, White, Gabriel, and Tavares. So Gabriel and White both make it, which will make Cossy a bit more comfortable. In midfield, you have Jacques and El Neni. And then Saka starts on the right, Smith Rowe starts on the left instead of Martinelli. Odegaard starts as the number 10 and Ketia up front. I had Cossy I was okay with Ketia being dropped, but I'm okay with this. And then on the bench, obviously, Leno, Cedric has been dropped to the bench. Lokonga, Martinelli has been dropped to the bench as well. Pepe, Lacazette, Salah, oh Lord, I wish it was Mohamed Salah. Swanson and Patino on the bench. That is the Arsenal lineup. So Gabriel and Ben White make it. So I'm very, very happy with that. I don't know how Cossy feels. Tavares, would you have played Cedric at left back? Or Tavares is okay with you?
I mean, I don't trust both of them. I think Tavares is developing. I think what I've seen with Mikel Arteta is that some players with Mikel Arteta and Pep, some players can have a horrible first season and then the next season they definitely turn into something else. I think Tavares will develop better as a player. I don't trust both of them, but what Tavares will give us though in this game, if he doesn't commit those very many mistakes that hurt us, what he will give us is the advantage on the other end. Yeah, it gives you that advantage on the other end. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to look at the Newcastle lineup and then I'll be telling you. But I mean, if I have
it.
You have it, all right?
Yeah. So Chris Wood, who I was really afraid of because of the aerial stuff, is not there at all. So they're playing with the Dubravka in goal. They're playing with the back four of Target as the left back, Dan Ban and Shah as the centre backs with Emil Kraft at right back. In midfield, they have a very dangerous Bruno Guimaraes, Longstaff, and also Joelinton. And then up front, Almiron, the very, very, very dangerous Saint Maximin. He'll be up against Tomiyasu, so I think we can be able to deal with it 60% of the time, hopefully. And then Callum Wilson up front as the captain for today's game. On their bench, they have Trippier. They've left him on the bench. Richie Lascelles, the original captain. Dermot, Fernandez, Fraser, Murphy, Gale, and also Dallo on the bench. So very pacey front line. Almiron, Maximin, Wilson.
Yeah, it's a very pacey. It's a very pacey front line. Actually, I think they might not try to dominate the game, but of course the good thing is that Alan St. Maxima can drop into the midfield. So can Sean Longstaff, right? Sorry, Miguel Almiron. Both of them can drop into that midfield. But the bad thing for us is that I think they're going to leave the ball for us. That is what I think. They're going to leave the ball for us and then use the pace of Alan St. Maxima and Miguel Almiron. Because Almiron is one player that I can trust in that Newcastle side, that he can start a counter-attack and finish it himself. Maxima as well. And then Callum Wilson, of course, is coming back from injury. So probably, I don't know how fit he is. but again, he's another threat, especially not in the air, but as a number 9. I actually think he would give them more quality than Chris Wood. I think they brought in Chris Wood because Callum Wilson was on injury. I don't remember,
Yeah, he
but
was injured. Yeah.
yeah, he was injured. I think he gives them more than Chris Wood, because with Wood, he's got that hold up play, which is very very good, especially if you're looking to go long and commit numbers later. With Callum Wilson, he's got the ability to drop into that midfield. Like I think he's more like an Alexander Lacazette. Drops in there and then allows Maxima Miguel Almiron to run past him. He can keep the ball. He can also turn with the ball. But I'm not afraid of him. Ben White and Gabriel are back. Look, let's get react to our lineup. Does that make you does that make you any better? I mean, any confident? Because for me, it does. The back four, decent, absolutely decent.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. If you start, let's say Gabriel wasn't there, and maybe Tavares wasn't fit or something, then you're having to take Xhaka to the back. And with that, you're taking a midfielder to defense and also hurting your midfield at the same time. So you're solving a problem and creating another problem, taking Xhaka at the back, because you're leaving the midfield exposed. We saw what happened with Lokonga. Is maybe in the future, but you can't leave him in midfield alone. Like that takes out. If you put him against Kante, Fabinho, he'll be absolutely dominated. Even maybe Longstaff, those kind of players. I'm also happy Shelby is not playing.
Yeah,
very physical player.
Yeah, with Abasam Lokonga, I think many people on this channel really do disagree with me when it comes to Lokonga, because I love him as a player. He's my player, but I think with Lokonga, one mistake that Arteta does is trying to use him as a base, right? Like a Lodri. I think he's good at passing. I think he's very good at at finding the right passes and everything. But if you give him lots of work, he's not like a Partey. Partey is an exceptionally gifted player. I mean, a player who can give you the same defensive output and the same, offensive output. I mean, he balances his work. He's unbelievable. And to fit the shoes, for Lokonga to fit into the shoes of Thomas Partey, he will need regular game time, for example, in the Europa League. But then I think Mikel Arteta does it wrongly, because, I mean, 70 minutes, bring him on. 80 minutes, bring him on. At times, there are times when he wants, game management, right? And then you see he doesn't give him a chance. I think you should be coming on more, like coming on for Partey, coming on for Xhaka, because when he plays alongside Partey, we don't get exposed that much. So we should be bringing him on. That is how we can develop him. But look, honestly, let's say this. I don't think the lineup just justifies the fact that no excuses. I think the excuses will be there, but now we are almost. That is our best 11. That is the best 11 we have. So we cannot make a mistake, right? Because no one is going to feel pity for us. If it was Xhaka, Nuno, Cedric, everybody say, "Oh, Arsenal lost that game because." But now our best centre backs are back and our best right back is back. It's only Tierney missing, right?
Even my Wi-Fi is getting scared, because even my Wi-Fi is getting scared. It's hanging up. So I'm very happy that scored. I'm one of those who don't really mind who plays between Smith Rowe and Martinelli. I love them both. I think both of them bring something to the table, and both of them have been excellent this season. Like whenever they've played, Smith Rowe, one of his best seasons in terms of scoring goals, and Martinelli always gives us something. So I'm not really worried about Martinelli being a bench option or starting the game. Really don't mind. So I'm really happy that El Neni has really impressed me. He's been one of our better players recently. I would actually give him that contract that he's talking about. I'd actually give it to him, because he never complains. He can come on whenever you need him, because we disagree. Wow.
I 100% disagree. I 100% disagree with because if you're going to we're going to Champions League where Toni Kroos, Casemiro, and Modric, and then when Casemiro comes on or Kroos comes off, they bring in Eduardo Camavinga. No. And then for
Yeah, but
me,
it's not. But we have 4 competitions next season. Yeah, we have 4 competitions.
we have four.
Even
We
if we
have
don't
four
call.
competitions. We have four
Yeah.
competitions. We have 4 competitions. I understand, but
Mhm.
for me, Elneny is and I think himself, he knows he his position can be upgraded, right?
Mm, mm.
Yeah, he wants to stay, and he's one of those players that you respect a lot because they love the club, but his position can be upgraded, and for me, that is the point. The moment your position can be upgraded, then we do it. We upgrade the position. We
But
upgrade the
there's
position.
other positions you'd want to upgrade first, right? Like right back, like
Yeah, yeah,
Tomiyasu,
yeah, yeah.
someone to
Maybe
replace Tomiyasu when he's injured.
that is one of the reasons I would keep him. That's one of the
Mm,
reasons I would keep him, just
yeah.
to care for other positions that are a priority.
Mm,
But if not that, I would let him go. Because look, Boubacar Kamara, Marseille is free on a summer. Is free in the summer.
mm,
Free.
mm.
I definitely go for Kamara. I let go of Elneny on a free, get Kamara on a free. He's young. If he decides to walk, I mean, his value just rises. We get some good money out of him. I'll go for because look, Bissouma is a good player at
Brighton.
at Brighton. But if we brought in Bissouma as an understudy to Thomas Partey, and for example, if we go to the Europa League, Bissouma would play every game in the Europa League in that midfield. You believe me,
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
right? I'll bring in Bissouma. I'll bring in Bissouma.
Mm.
Give him a chance to play in Europe. Yeah, I'll bring in Bissouma, honestly.
But what about if you have Bissouma and Partey starting, and then you have Jacques Elneny and Lokonga on the bench? Doesn't that make you feel better? Because next season, by the way, for those who don't know, next season there'll be 5 substitutions in the Premier League, by the way. 5,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
3. So you need people to bring on. So if I have those 2 starting and then I have Jacques Elneny and Lokonga on the bench, I'd be okay. I'd feel like, you know what, we have some experience on the bench.
yeah. But for me, the scare is what we've been through this season.
Mm.
You can lose Partey and Bissouma. It's very
Yeah.
possible. You can
Mm.
lose both of them. And when you
Mhm.
lose both of them, the available options are then Xhaka and Elneny.
Yeah.
What I would do, I would have Xhaka stay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of Elneny, if I brought in Bissouma, then I bring in Boubacar Kamara. Because I know Kamara is a quality. He's a quality player.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the moment I bring in Boubacar Kamara, I know he's a quality player. So Kamara and Xhaka, that is a midfield I can, I can rely on. And Bissouma and Partey, that is also a midfield I rely on. I don't want to keep both of them. I don't want to keep both of them. But if you ask me, Elneny or Xhaka, who would you keep? I would keep Elneny and upgrade on Xhaka first. That's what I would do.
Yeah. That's what I do as well, because there's a lot of factors, obviously. Elneny won't ask for more money. He will not complain about not playing. He'll do for you the job, even if it's for 2 minutes. There's a lot of reasons that keep him. And listen, last season, I was one of those people who was saying, you know what, let's get rid of Mustafi, Xhaka, Kolasinac, Elneny, Nketiah, let them all go. But you can see someone like the most important stage of the season is definitely giving us something. If we go to the Champions League, I actually can't believe it, but Elneny and Nketiah have actually helped us qualify for the Champions League if we get there at the end. So there won't be starters next season. We'll be in 4 competitions next season, even if we don't qualify for the Champions League. We'll be in the Europa League, so we'll have a lot of games to play. So having a squad doesn't really hurt you. I rather have 6 players in midfield than 4. So even if I have all of them, as I said, 5 substitutions allowed next season in all of those competitions, you'll want to use all your squad. But let's see how it does today. Obviously, we might say that, and then today gives away 3 goals.
I don't think he can. I don't think he can. He's throughout his Arsenal career, he's one of those players that
Reliable.
I mean, we just accuse him of not being good enough. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember coming into a game and then I pick on him so much and say, well, he did this and that. He literally. I think he's one of those players who play their role, and they played to their maximum ability, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that's why I want to replace him is that his maximum ability is not good enough. Honestly, his maximum ability is not good enough. He's like Rob Holding. Rob Holding can be praised in a few games. But if you ask me, should we keep Robolding? Honestly, no. No.
Mm.
But he's not a bad, he's not a bad player. I think if he went to a club like Brighton, they would throw a party. They would be happy. They would have gotten themselves a very, very good centre back. Like Smalling went to Roma, and Smalling is starting every game. Things like that. But the players I would upgrade on. They're honestly players I would upgrade on. If there is a chance to upgrade on them, I do it. I honestly do it.
Yeah, but there's so many positions you can only so many positions you can upgrade on. Maybe 4 or 5. You can't do all of them at the same time. So I've seen someone in the chat saying we need. I've seen AK saying we need a central midfielder. Definitely, I think we need one central midfielder, one central defensive midfielder, 2 strikers, probably a backup right back. We need like 6 signings this season, but we might not get all 6 of them. So which are the 4 priority?
But I would say 2 up front, 2 in the midfield, and 1 in the back line, and get in Saliba as well.
That fullback or centre back?
Saliba comes in as a centre back, so I'll bring in someone who can play both right and left fullback.
Okay. Let's do the quick predictions. Makui said Arsenal will win 2-1. I mean, that would be a bit scary, but I'm hoping you can score more goals than that. Mark says Arsenal wins. Bashir says we hope he hopes we win. Mark said 3-1. Bidemi said we are winning 2-0. So a lot of good predictions, I'd say.
Yeah. It's one thing I love with this channel. It has a lot of positivity.
Yeah. Anu, the regular, says we should win. We should definitely win. As I said, it's Newcastle, we should win. But then again, it's a very crucial part of the season, so anything can happen. Like in the Premier League, you can see Brighton smashing United by 4-0. You can see West Ham scoring 2 quick goals against Man City when you didn't expect it. Lucky said 3-1 to Arsenal. So I don't know. I don't want to be that confident in terms of scores. Like the last time I was that confident. It worked out because I did say we were going to score 3 or 4 against Man United. I didn't expect us to put 4 past Chelsea or 2 comfortably past West Ham. Going to be, but I probably agree in terms of 2-1. I think Newcastle will probably score. Even if we have Gabriel and White, like Saint Maximin is very tricky.
Yeah.
They'll probably score.
Yeah, they will score. They will score. I cannot. It's one thing that I can't bet against. I think they will score. And we've also been conceding these days. I mean, if we conceded against Leeds, didn't expect to concede a goal against Leeds. We did.
I remember I did a video talking about the injuries you can't afford. The moment Tierney and Partey got the injuries, I said we might keep only 1 clean sheet between now and the end of the season, because losing Partey and Tierney, that disrupts our defense, and then you're having to bring in Tavares, Lokonga, non-experienced players, and then after that it even got worse. Tomiyasu got injured again. Obviously Ben White got injured as well, so it became even a harder of a task. So I don't care if this game today ends 1-0 or 10-9, as long as we win. I don't care how many goals Newcastle score against us, as long as we score more against them. That top 4 is very important, but especially where we did a video with Cossy at the beginning of the season, and both of us predicted Arsenal to finish 5th, but none of us expected us to be anywhere near 4th at this time.
And I've always said that if you want the quality of players that Arsenal are trying to to fight for in the summer, the first thing you have to do is to get to the level where those players want to play Champions League.
Yeah, it helps you to keep those players we want. And Eric says he let Partey go. I don't think so, man. Partey can, even if Partey is available for 15 games, I'll let him play those 15 games because he brings a lot to the table. And Christopher says 2-1.
I would let Partey go.
Yeah.
I would let Partey go if we have completed building the whole squad. Like if for example, if up front we have Gabriel, Jesus, and he's worked, and because Partey is a signing that has worked out, right? We're talking about the best player in his position, in his position when he's fit. So if we build the whole squad, Tierney is on fire, our right backs are on fire, the centre back pairing is okay, the goalkeeper is okay. Up front, we are fine, and the rest of the midfielders are doing well. And Partey is the only one letting us down by injuries. And then there is probably Aurelien Chouameni. Yeah, fine. But is Arsenal going to spend 70 million, 80 million to bring in Aurelien Chouameni? No. So Partey is non-negotiable. That's the one. It's that deal is non-negotiable. There are no words to negotiate that deal.
Yeah, people are struggling with midfielders. Look at United, crying about midfielders. So even if you have, I rather have a half-fit Partey really than most of the players available in his position. And I know it's maybe in the next 1 year, if he's still injury problems and we've gone far in the Champions League and players want to join Arsenal, then you can start looking at other positions. Just like Pepe, I think very soon we'll be looking at other people and trying to get rid of Pepe because it didn't work out for him. So, but I think there's still other positions we need to sort out fast. As you said, Cedric, probably his age is done now. We need to sort out probably the midfield very, very quickly as well. Striking has to be the first. We need to see a striker in the door right away, like in the beginning of June, because those are the positions you don't have any players at all. Then you can try and sort out the others even after the first game has been played of the season.
Yeah. Okay. What are you people saying in the chat? I mean, it's a game where I don't even want to drop a prediction, because you might drop a prediction and you face it trap. Nolo Konga is a very good player, but he's a young player. I mean, young is not an excuse for not doing well, honestly, guys. Young is not an excuse for not doing well. Okay, Gabriel and White in defense. Yeah, whoever is asking, we can. The lineup has been displayed by Glenn. He can display it for you once again. Whoever is in doubt, both centre backs, Gabriel and White, are back in the team, and I think that gives us something very, very, very crucial in this game. That's something very crucial in this game. How am I doing, Thomas Ferry? Hope you're doing well. I can see the optimism in the chat, honestly. Taika says, I want to see Arsenal playing Champions League football next season. We all want to, honestly. We all want to.
Not because we are going to win the competition. No one saying Arsenal is going to win the Champions League. But there's a lot, like, all the factors that come into play. Like, actually, I don't even mind if we go into the Champions League and finish third and go to the Europa League. Because by then, you play those 6 Champions League games, then you test yourself and oh, wow, this is how far we are, this is how close we are. Then you know what to do next season. But if you're not there next season, you have to play in it to know how far you are from it. Because if you don't play in it at all, then we don't know how Arsenal would do against FC Porto. We don't know. But unless we play against them and maybe win 3 and you're like, oh, wow, we can actually play this kind of players. Maybe this is the only position we need to. We don't have to go and win the Champions League. I don't even care if we go and head back to the Europa League the same season, as long as we've tested ourselves in those 6 games.
Yeah. I mean, many people don't want us to see us in the Europa League. That is that is something that, but one thing I hate about the Europa League is that you don't get the players you want, and I don't want that anymore. I'm tired of seeing Arsenal with so many fringe players that are praised. I want to see players that have quality, and we back them. I want to back real quality now. But the good thing with the Europa League, you know what? It would buy us some time to get this structure together and then present it on because like Vinay Vegetation said, we overachieved. We have really overachieved, and you can see that we have overachieved to some extent. That like in the Spurs game. And those 3 games we lost: Crystal Palace, Southampton, and Brighton.
Brighton, yeah.
For me, those are the periods where I saw that Arsenal had really overachieved, right? Because those were games that were really decisive. Those were games that, because if we had won those 3 games and lost to Spurs, it would mean nothing. Those would be 9 more points, right?
Yeah.
Even if we had collected 4 points out of these games, or 3 points, right, would still be in a very, very good position as we go into this game.
Even just if we scored against Southampton and made it a draw, and then that last minute get your chance against Brighton, you would have scored that. Even that extra 2 points that would actually put us in a position where a draw today wouldn't have been bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Even a draw. But now
Yeah.
we're having to win because of that goal difference between
Yeah.
us and Tottenham. 6 points.
Yeah.
There's nothing less. And then obviously Tottenham are very lucky to be facing Norwich. If they were traveling to like Chelsea on the final day or something, then that would have been a benefit to us. But Norwich, literally the worst team in the league.
I mean, it's this is one of the worst scripts I don't enjoy as an Arsenal fan. I don't enjoy the script because Spurs playing. I mean, they played Burnley. Burnley played a little bit well. I mean, did you look at the penalty attempt? The penalty and the saga. Do you think Burnley were a little bit hard done by?
Yeah, they were, and they hit the post in the second half. I was watching that game, but in my head, I was like, you know what? The truth is, we never really expected Tottenham to drop points. The truth is, we need to do our own job. Like, we can't depend on Burnley now. You just have to. Well, if you go and lose to Everton in Newcastle, then you're probably not ready for the Champions League, as people say. If you go and win, no one can really tell us that you're not ready for the Champions League because we've right now at the moment only Liverpool and Man City have won more games than us, so we've done something right. So if we can get these 2 more wins, we've definitely done something this season. No one expected us to be anywhere close to top 4, so that's why getting this close and having these 2 fixtures. These are the best 2 fixtures I would have asked for because we always beat Newcastle and Everton, but obviously circumstances make it look difficult.
Actually, the point to make that if we win these 2, we are ready for the Champions League.
No, really, not really in terms of winning.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Like if we go past these 2 games, I've looked at AC Milan. I've been looking at AC Milan's fixture list. Ever since they led Inter Milan by just 2 points, they've literally had to win every game, right? And they had Fiorentina, they had Atalanta, and Lazio. You can imagine, right?
Yeah.
And that was the time when Inter playing Empoli, they're playing these easy teams in Verona. Cagliari, And I was like, honestly, there is no way Milan take this, right? There's no way AC Milan beat Fiorentina, Lazio, and Atalanta. They surely drop points somewhere. And
but they haven't.
Yeah, they've won all of them. They've won all of them. You can imagine.
That's what we need to do for ourselves as well.
Yeah, that's what we need to do. That's why I was angry with people who are blaming Paul Tierney in the Spurs game. Yeah, I was really angry because yes, look, officiation at times kills games and everything, but if you go and sit down and really think, did we do a massive part in this, in our own destruction? I think the answer is 99% yes. Rob Holding in that game, if I was referee, I would have sent him off before the knock, before knocking, before blocking Son. You know why? Because he had done 3 bookable offenses. He was booked only once.
Yeah.
The Human-Son incident, to be honest, Human-Son it's a yellow card, right? It's a yellow card. But what I don't understand is why Rob Holding is blocking Son on a ball that 100% is going to Aaron Ramsdale. I don't get that. Okay, let's say he had miscalculated and he had got his bearings wrong. I didn't see him try to run, because for me, if he runs faster, he gets the ball fast and then passes it back to the goalkeeper. A defender on a yellow card, right? I mean, we know when you get a yellow card, you become a little bit timid. But then to do that minutes later after getting a yellow card, I don't expect a referee to. I don't expect anything else. For me, I thought he was gonna be sent off before I saw the red card, and when he was sent off, maybe the penalty. Actually, the penalty at first, when I saw the penalty, I was disappointed by Cedric. But on rewatching it, that was not really penalty, honestly. I mean, I can see what Cedric. I think I can see what Cedric was trying to do in that situation, because it's what he was defending Sessegnon, and then he comes back to knock, just put Son out of the direction of the ball. But it had also gone back. It's lack of awareness, because the time he does that, the ball has flown over Cedric's head, and then that's when he makes contact with Son. I think it's lack of awareness, and then the general approach of the game. I think we did little when it comes to stopping Kulusevski and so on, because the penalty comes from a Kulusevski cross, which shouldn't be coming in that easily. You don't allow Dejan Kulusevski to cross in the ball that easily. You don't allow him to. We played the high line. They were always dropping those balls behind us, and we were reacting second. I thought Potiani could have been a problem, but even if it was a different referee, I don't see how we won. I couldn't see how we win that game. I couldn't.
Yeah, you don't give the referee an opportunity to make a decision.
Yeah, you don't give
let them score. If Son scores from there, it's 1-0 down. You still have another 70 minutes to try and get a goal.
Yeah,
but when you go to 10 men down, like what Holding did, then you're giving yourself no chance. You rather just let them score and then try it. And that's the one thing that can cost us. If we play the way we played against Chelsea or Man United, we'll win the game. But if Xhaka becomes the Xhaka from 2 years ago and gives away the ball or commits a silly foul, or I don't know, someone else, if Cedric comes on, fouls someone, if Ramsdale decides to give away the ball, that's the only way we can lose this top four. If Nketiah gets 5 chances and he doesn't score and we have ourselves to blame, fine. If Tottenham come or Newcastle come and play against you and they totally outplay you and you're totally beaten, then you're like, okay, fine, these guys will beat everyone else. But if it's individual mistakes like the way we've done this season, like I can think of so many games. Leeds, both games, they should never even have scored a goal against us if it wasn't for our own mistakes. Even Chelsea, that goal that Werner scored, like he shouldn't have ever scored from there. So individual mistakes. If we don't make any mistakes, we should be good to beat Newcastle. I know they've won a lot of home games, as you said, especially this year. But when they've faced the teams that you expect to beat them, they've lost. Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, all those teams have beaten them. So let's hope we can do the same today.
Yeah. Okay. Make sure you hit the like button. People will be here for the match reaction with Glenn and the player ratings as well. So make sure you hit the like button and do not forget to come back for your match reaction. Glenn, any last
thoughts? It's a happy one. Yeah, I'm just really hoping it's a happy match reaction, man. I'm hoping because if we don't win today, it's over because Tottenham have Norwich. So I'm really hoping it's going to be a happy one, man. And we're back in that top 4. I think the players, they really deserve it. The young players, these new players that everyone was underestimating, Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, I think they've done so well this season that they actually deserve a reward. I know even if we don't win any trophies like this, and obviously you're not going to win any, at least they know they've created a bond with each other for the past 1 year, and maybe next time things would be better, but we've gotten so close. So I'm just hoping we're going to win.
So your prediction?
Arsenal 2, Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Arsenal 2. I think they'll definitely score. So I'm hoping it's more comfortable than that. Get a 2-0 lead, and then even if they score in the last 2 minutes, you just have 1 minute to hold on. I'm hoping they don't take the lead because that just puts a lot of pressure on you, knowing when they start showing the table. Every time you watch the game and then every goal goes in, they show the table after every goal goes in. And then you're like, your goal difference has moved from 9 to 8.
Yeah. And actually, our goal difference really doesn't really mean anything because Spurs are way ahead of us.
Yeah, we just need to win our 2 games. No goal. That's why I'm saying I didn't even care if Tottenham were going to score 30 goals against us the other day. I was actually saying take off Saka, take off these players. I even said take off Gabriel, and then he got the injury. He just wanted all those players to come off because that game after they scored the second goal, it was over. So I actually heard you saying in one of your videos that you've moved on from that game. I was really happy to hear that because I definitely moved on from that game right away.
Yeah,
I did not care.
Yeah, I did as well. I think I did one match reaction on that.
Yeah.
Didn't see any point of doing player ratings really. Didn't see any point of doing anything else. Six things we learned. I mean,
Yeah.
self-destruction was the only lesson you could talk about in that. I just wanted to move on, and
Yeah.
yeah, I did. So my prediction, lads, I think I'm going to go with I will back Arsenal. There's no way I cannot back my team away from home. I'll go with a 1-0 lead. Um,
And
1-0. I know they will definitely score, but I think 1-0 Arsenal edging it. I think it should be about preserving the game and managing it. If we don't do that, I don't think we stand a chance. So for me, 1-0. I hope Arsenal don't bother this. I literally don't. I literally hope Arsenal don't bother it.
surely
But
not
thanks,
now, man.
yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Cossy. He's Glenn. Glenn is now, how should I say it? Oh my god, I should say this so that you people get to know. I mean, how dare me. Lads, welcome now a permanent member of the channel, Glenn. So Glenn will be creating content for Courses Arsenal podcast, transfers, previews, reactions, player ratings, a lot of content. I look forward to working with him. Make sure you give him the same love you give me. It's incredible. So please make sure you do always tune in. He will be having a show. He'll be having shows in the afternoon, and then of course we'll be having a combined show always in the evening when he's not busy. And of course, make sure you also do subscribe to his Arsenal channel, Everything Arsenal. He does a lot of player profiling and Arsenal history. So make sure you watch much of the content there. I'll be hosting a show, not producing, but we're hosting a show on 99 Sport. I'll be happy to share with you. It's coming up very, very soon. Literally going to be football debates, and I will be telling you when that starts. But Glenn is going to be producing content starting tomorrow. Of course, you'll be joining me. He's joined me today. Be joining me for the match reaction today. Player ratings will be coming out today, and many more things. So make sure you always do support the channel and support him. He's now a big member of the family. So welcome to the channel, bro, and welcome to the family.
Absolutely. The first time we worked with Cossy, by the way, was back in 2020 when we were signing Partey. And right away, like, I was really impressed with this channel, and then just seeing him grow. We've been working towards those 2 years. So you have a very good community here. All these people, very positive people. So hoping I can add something to the team. And always remember this quote: if you go alone, you're going to go fast, but if you go together, you're going to go farther. So if you work together with people, you're definitely going to help each other out. So I'm hoping today our defense and our midfielders and our strikers work together so that we can go farther.
All right, lads. 30 minutes to kick, 20 minutes to kick off.
Yeah.
Let's go, refresh a bit, watch the game, and of course we'll be back here with our match reaction on the channel. Obviously, my fan cam will be dropping, Glenn's fan cam will also be dropping, and the player ratings and much more content. Bye bye.